Sasha Banks and Naomi have been a trending topic in the professional wrestling community because of their iconic walkout from WWE because they were about to be booked in a bad points as tag team champions, and before that could happen, Sasha and Naomi took a stand and walked out of WWE because they didn't want to be booked like some mediocre tag team champions when they know they can deliver as tag team champions. So this whole thing started. Sasha Banks, Naomi, they were gonna compete in a number one contender 6-pack elimination challenge. The winner faces Bianca Belair at the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view 1-on-1. Not in a Hell in a Cell match, not in a no disqualification match, not an Extreme Rules match, no stipulation, just a regular 1-on-1 match for the Raw Women's Championship. So in the match, it was Sasha Naomi, Becky Lynch, Asuka, Nikki Cross, and Doudrop. So on paper, this match sounds like it's going to slap. It's going to be fire. It's going to be, a match of the year candidate. And it's just going to be a 5-star, if not 5+ star classic. And showing why women's wrestlers are women's wrestlers and why women's wrestlers are iconic and know how to do their job and that they're really good at what they do. Unlike Mandy Rose and Kelly Kelly. So the match is like being promoted, is being announced. The fans, the stands, the critics, the journalists, everybody's hyped. They're like, we're gonna see what this match is gonna give, and if it's gonna give or not. And hopefully they're giving time. And apparently, I think they were supposed to main event, or they were gonna co-main event that Raw. I don't remember. So when the match is being advertised, all of a sudden there's news and rumors and unconfirmed information going around that Sasha Banks and Naomi had apparently walked out of the building, put the tag team titles on the desk, and that they were not going to be competing in the 6-pack challenge. So everybody was just like, what in the world is going on? So, when you hear two competitors, a match is going to walk out. They're just not going to be competing in a match. You would think that the remaining competitors are just going to have to be in a match, and we just got to do what we got to do, or there's going to be 2 replacements. That wasn't the case. So because Sasha and Naomi walked out, Doudrop and Nikki Cross got taken out of the match as well after Sasha and Naomi walked out, and it got reverted back to Becky versus Asuka 1-on-1, and the winner was going to face Bianca Belair at Hell in a Cell. So the rumors going around was that Sasha Banks and Naomi were not happy with their booking as tag team champions because they felt like they were being booked in a corner. Because apparently Naomi was supposed to win the number one contenders match, and she was going to face Bianca Belair for the Raw Women's Championship while being a tag team champion at Hell in a Cell. And Sasha Banks was going to be the one who took the pin on top of that. Then WWE was going to pay Sasha back for putting Naomi over, and she was going to win in somehow like a number one contenders match or something, face Ronda Rousey, who was the SmackDown Women's Champion at the time, for the SmackDown Women's Championship at Hell in a Cell. And Naomi and Sasha were both going to put over Bianca and Ronda at the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view. And then Sasha and Naomi, I don't remember. I think I'm telling y'all this wrong, this part right here. Either the company had no plans for them afterwards as a tag team, like as tag team champions, or they were going to have to put Nikki Cross and Doudrop over, and they were going to win the tag team titles from them. It was one of those. That's what I read from something. I don't remember the story in full. I'm going off of pure memory. And so Sasha and Naomi were like, no, we're not doing that. And so they walked out, they put the titles on the desk, and they walked out. Like, we're not doing that. We're not, no. So on paper, Sasha Banks immediately, she just starts getting blamed for the whole situation. Everybody was blaming, well, not everybody, but y'all know. Everybody was blaming Sasha, saying, oh, she manipulated Naomi into walking out of WWE. She's the problem. She's the antagonist in this. She is the one who wanted Naomi to walk out because she didn't want to see Naomi succeed. Just a whole bunch of outrageous rumors, a whole bunch of just crazy, bizarre articles just going around. And keep in mind, this information is unconfirmed at the time. We don't know anything. It's just we're just going based off what WWE has put out, saying Sasha Banks and Naomi have walked out of WWE, and Corey Graves and other commentators adding on to the situation, being told what to say, like, from their headset about Sasha Banks and Naomi walking out. And they were being called unprofessional. They were being called just unprofessional. Like, the walkout was unprofessional. How they handled the whole situation was unprofessional. It wasn't right. Just stuff like that. You know, when black women take a stand on what they believe in, of course they're going to be labeled as unprofessional by the white men, because that's what they do best. They just love tearing down our multi-talented melanin queens. And so Sasha was basically the one getting blamed. She was being called a diva, a manipulator, a selfish, self-absorbed, conceited person, and that Naomi was wronged and that she was robbed out of an opportunity to prove why she deserves better, basically, out of a match she was supposed to win, because her tag team partner, that being Sasha Banks, didn't want to see her get that opportunity. That it wasn't said directly, but you can just kind of tell from how stands and the reports and just how everybody who's just believing Sasha is like the villain, that's how they took it. And Sasha was just being labeled as this villain. And everybody was saying, like, this just can't be true about Naomi, because it's not like Naomi to do something like this. Because Naomi has been one of the most mistreated women's wrestlers for years in WWE, and she never walked out. She never, took, like, I won't say she never took a stand, but she never walked out or requested her release, from what I know. Despite being booked bad, she just sat back, waited her turn, put people over, did what she was told, stuff like that. But Sasha Banks, on the other hand, we know how she is. Like, whenever there's something she doesn't like, she's going to open her mouth and she's going to say, hey, I'm not liking this. I don't rock with this. I'm not here for this. I'm not here for that. And because Sasha Banks is a black woman, she's going to be labeled as, being ratchet and ghetto, and just like, oh, she's being confrontational. This is confrontational for me. I can't do this right now. She's calling me a hillbilly. She's calling me out my name because she's standing up for what she believes in. And so because Sasha has done this in the past for multiple things, because if y'all remember, she took a hiatus from WWE for mental health reasons. But of course, people love, stirring stuff up with black women and black people in general, for when they take stands and do stuff for their mental health and just anything for their mental sake, or just something for their sake, period. They twisted that up, and it was like she was being a crybaby then, and now she's being a crybaby now. And the whole Alexa Bliss drama, Sasha was saying she didn't like Alexa Bliss because she felt like Alexa Bliss was just another white girl who was just here for the fame and the money, who didn't want to put the work in. And Nia Jax had to like rough her up in a match or something, via company orders or something like that. Something like that. It was just like, because Sasha has been an outspoken person for years in the WWE, and the reputation has been labeled on her by these white men and these white women who kiss up to Vince McMahon like the sheep they are. She's being labeled as this diva, and she's being labeled as this self-absorbed, conceited person who doesn't care about anything but Sasha Banks, and she doesn't care about anybody else unless it's going to benefit her in the long run or the short run. And a lot of people are feeling like Naomi is the one being manipulated, because usually Naomi is not the one to be the outspoken. She's like outspoken, but like she's not as outspoken as Sasha Banks would be, because Sasha, unlike Naomi, she has an advantage because Sasha's biracial. Naomi is dark skinned. So because Sasha is biracial, she's not going to be, she'll face like criticism and like, racially motivated like behavior for her standing up in what she believes in. But she has more of an advantage because she's a biracial. She's a woman. She's a mixed woman. She's a light-skinned woman. And, she won't, I won't say she'll be taken as much as, like, a threat, but she won't be really being seen more as, like, as confrontational. Versus if Naomi did it, it's like, she thinks she thinks she could just step up to authority, all because she's standing up in what she believes in. Like, if Naomi, when she did her, the Naomi deserves better thing, the promo with the Miz and John Morrison, she simply said, the truth. I've been showing up since day one, showing up and showing out consistently. I give it my all day in and day out, and that's why fans support me, and that's why fans root for me. Do I need to further explain? And just by that, fans were fickle. They were, calling her out her name, saying she thinks she this, she thinks she that. She think like, what about this woman? What about this woman? You think you better than her and all that stuff? And just all that stuff. And, it's harder for Naomi because, she doesn't benefit from colorism like Sasha Banks does. And so, not to say Sasha won't get hate as a black woman, but if Naomi were to, like, do, like, this, like, what Sasha's doing now, like, in the past, from other stuff, she would have it like really bad compared to how Sasha has it now. Like y'all think Sasha stands, y'all think Sasha got it bad? Imagine what Naomi would have to go through. Just keep that in mind. And so a lot of people are just like, this isn't like Naomi to do this because, you know, she's been mistreated way like worse than Sasha Banks ever has and any other black woman, period. And she's taking a stand. It's just not like her. And I hate to say, but it's true. It's not, because she usually you won't really hear about Naomi taking a stand or taking a leave from WWE despite this, that, and the third happening against her. But as true as that may be, I hate that it's being labeled as Naomi, like, instead of being like people backing her up and supporting her for her decision on wanting to walk out with Sasha about this whole situation, it's more so like she's being labeled as a problem, not just from white people or racists or KKKers or Confederates, but her stans. Like, y'all aren't, I'm a stan, but like when I say y'all, I mean the ones who aren't seeing the bigger picture. Instead of supporting Naomi, it's kind of like y'all are almost critiquing her and bashing her for wanting to stand with Sasha and taking the opportunity to stand up in what she believes in as a black woman, as the most oppressed person in America, the black woman. She's taking a stand. Instead of supporting that, y'all are kind of making an issue out of it when it doesn't need, an issue doesn't need to be made out of it at all. Naomi is a multi-talented melanin queen who can stand up on her own 2 feet. So this whole Sasha manipulating her, when you talk about that, I was going to wait for that, but I'm just going to jump into it right now. That needs to be like cut out of the equation. Naomi is grown, smart, high IQ. She graduated elementary, middle, high school, and college. She knows what, she's smart. She can deliver matches. She knows how to wrestle, dance, sing, multi-talented queen. So why would she need somebody to take a stand for her? No. This whole Sasha, no. Why are you guys like agreeing? It doesn't make sense. Yes, Naomi it's not like Naomi to take an action like this. It's not. But you should support Naomi in this because it shows you that she's tired. And who wouldn't it be? Years of grinding, hustling, all this stuff just for mediocre white women like Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke and all these other white women who can't do anything, getting the bare minimum praise. Nikita Lyons, oh my God. The bare minimum praise for something that you can do in seconds, something you can do better on top of that, and you outdo all 3 of them, but you're still, you know, pushed to the back where they're pushed forward, where they're pushing, giving like, oh my gosh, yes, girl, yes, queen, you do that, eat it up, but you know you have this talent. Who wouldn't be tired? Who wouldn't be tired of their talent constantly being degraded after being here for a decade and plus? It doesn't make sense. Why? No, it just doesn't. Like, why wouldn't you want to support her? It's common sense. Come on, y'all. Y'all not that dumb. Y'all a little dumb, but you ain't that dumb. And it doesn't make sense. Like, if you're a Naomi stan, if you're going to claim you're a proud Naomi member, then don't be trying to say Sasha manipulating Naomi. Instead, take a stand with Naomi and say, I stand with Sasha and Naomi, and support her in this. Support your idol, your inspiration, your stan, your fave, whatever Naomi is to you in this predicament that we are in right now, because it's needed. The tag team titles have been booked like trash for years, ever since they've been debuted, to be honest. And they get like, it's literally a bipolar booking with them. It's either you get a good reign or you don't. It's just you choose. And y'all get on this app and you preach, I want my faves to get more opportunities. I want the women in general to get more opportunities. That's what the tag team titles were for, and they're not being booked like that. So how is it a problem that Sasha Banks and Naomi are walking out of WWE because they want more opportunities for the women? The wrestlers want more opportunities for titles that the company who created these titles don't. They don't even want the opportunities to be made. They don't care about these titles. The wrestlers holding the titles care more about the titles than the actual company who established the titles. Well, how is that a problem? How is that an issue? Because if this was Becky Lynch, if this was Alexa Bliss, if this was Trish Stratus, if this was Charlotte Flair, y'all would be like, oh my God, heroic, what's that, feminism, yes, feminism queen, women's rights, all that stuff. But because it's 2 black women who know what they are talking about and know what they are doing, somehow, someway, they are ghetto, ratchet, uneducated monkeys who don't know what they're doing. What sense does that make? Because if it was one of those white women that I labeled, y'all would be all up in their pussy, praising them for what they are doing. And that doesn't make sense to me. How y'all preach how you want more for Naomi, you want more for Sasha, you want more for black women. But when they do stuff like this, y'all get mad. You make issues out of problems that you make problems out of stuff that don't need problems. And then there is a problem, you make another problem from problems from another problem that aren't even needed. Versus being mature and thinking, maybe they are right. Maybe I should be, smart for once in my life and support them in this decision. I don't know. It's just like, y'all gotta do better. You gotta do better. Naomi and Sasha are two of the biggest names in professional wrestling history. Why do you think they haven't been released yet? Because if this was Dana Brooke and Tamina, they would have been like, deuces. They don't care. Sasha and Naomi are draws for this company. If Sasha and Naomi get released, then WWE is going to be labeled as a racist company. And they're going to lose money. They're going to lose views. And they're going to lose draws. And yes, y'all can say this if you want. Sasha and Naomi spots can be replaced easily. No matter how hard they try to replace Sasha Banks and Naomi, there will never be another Naomi. There will never be another Sasha Banks. So you can't just easily replace that. No matter what talent the other person who may replace them or other people may replace them with, they can't replace them because of the impact they have left on the company as black women and women in general, period. So in general, Sasha Banks and Naomi were right. Sasha Banks and Naomi standing in what they believe in is right. And if you disagree, you don't know what you're talking about, or you desperately just want to be different. Because there's no way in hell y'all can actually say Sasha Banks manipulated Naomi and y'all trying to make it seem like Sasha is a villain for wanting to stand up for something she believes in with her tag team partner on top of that. And especially her tag team partner being mistreated for years, and she wants her to be in this movement because she knows she deserves better. And y'all believe Naomi got manipulated? Y'all claim y'all want better for Naomi. Now, you're a stan of Naomi. You're a diehard fan of Naomi. But if you want more for Naomi, you're not going to be mad at her taking a stand and standing up in a company that is going to treat her bad. It has been treating her bad for years and years and years. So stop trying to say Naomi's being manipulated because she wants to take a stand. Because if you're saying Naomi's being manipulated into wanting to take a stand for something that's right and for better booking upon herself and her tag team partner and being a black woman as a whole, then what it sounds like is that you're mad that Naomi wants better for herself as a black woman. As a black person on top of that too, because I know some of y'all are black saying this too. So just think about that. Just sit back and think about that. Am I saying what I'm saying out of my mouth? That's smart. Is Sasha really manipulating Naomi, or does Naomi just, want better for herself and better for her and Sasha as a whole? Maybe that's why. Just try thinking for once. It's going to do you justice in the long run. I promise you. But I hope Naomi and Sasha and WWE can resolve this, and that Sasha Banks and Naomi return as tag team champions and get the best tag team run, the longest reigning tag team run, and more runs to come after this, because they truly deserve it. These are two of the best women's wrestlers on the planet. They deserve the world, and they have been excellent representations for black people, and it would be an absolute travesty for WWE and Vince McMahon and all of them to lose wrestlers as talented as Sasha Banks and Naomi. So I stand with Sasha and Naomi. Sasha Banks did not manipulate Naomi. Naomi is a very smart, educated queen, and she's her own individual human being. And her agreeing to take a stand with Sasha shows that she is just as strong and independent as Sasha, and that she is capable of standing on her own 2 feet, and that she wants better for herself, and as she should, because Naomi should not have been mistreated the way she has been for years. For other mediocre white women like Dana Brooke and Mandy Rose and Nikita Lyons and all these trash white women y'all root for to get pushed when they offer little to nothing, except being pretty. And half of them not even pretty like that. We're not going to talk about that. We not. Okay? We not. Okay? But Sasha and Naomi are on the right. Stand them. And I said what I said.